What's up, everyone? My name's Josh Clow, one of the co-hosts of the Cleaver Podcast, and I'm going to be doing my take on Wildcard Weekend. If you guys haven't seen already, uh, the Colts beat the Texans, the Chargers beat the Ravens, the Cowboys beat the Seahawks, and just now the Eagles just beat the Bears. So now coming into next week, we have the Colts versus the Chiefs. You have the Eagles versus the Saints, Cowboys versus the Rams, and then the Chargers versus the Patriots. But before we go into that, I want to talk about what's my take on what happened Wild Card Week. We're going to start on with the Colts and the Texans game. My take: Texans have talent, but they are not ready to play big games. Uh, they lost the Patriots week one. Granted, it's week one, but coming in the big game, they got shut down for shut out most of the game. They couldn't stop the run. Definitely for a team that it's pretty good on defense, but injury struck during the game. Losing Demarius Thomas a couple weeks ago did hurt. So Houston's not ready to compete. I think that they are still missing one or two more pieces. Colts, on the other hand, they're looking mighty fine. Start the season 1-5, end of the season 10-6. You just won your playoff game. Now you got to go against the red hot offense of the Chiefs. But I mean, that was an impressive win. Fun facts, they got $122 million in cap space next season. So most of their team's young. They're about to go They're going to go ham on free agency next year. Improve some players, some positions and stuff. But yeah, they're going to be Super Bowl contenders next year with the money that they have, who they're going to bring in, who else they're going to draft, and Andrew Luck's playing like an All-Pro quarterback. So next game is the Seahawks and the Cowboys. My take on that is the Seahawks needs to find another identity minus the run game. You take out the run game, they really didn't do anything in the first half until they started passing in the second half. But you really need to figure out that if it's not working, stop doing it. I mean, you know that the Cowboys had a good rush defense, and you try to challenge them, and it didn't work. I know they had one or two good plays against them running the ball. I know Penny had a 29-yard rush at one point, but you need to realize and figure out, well, they're stopping us. We need to find different ways instead of trying to push and continue what's not working. Cowboys, on the other hand, I think you guys did a great job. I know that Ezekiel Elliott was held down for a little bit, but instead, pushed out. I think he had over 100 yards of scrimmage. I don't know his actual full stats, but I will give respects to the Cowboys on how they played. They played good defense. They did almost choke near the end after a touchdown, and then if they would have gotten the onside kick, it would have been a whole different game. But then they did benefit off of Seahawks losing their kicker. I don't know what the game was going to be like if Janikowski never got hurt, but they have the Rams next week, so I don't know how the Cowboys are going to do on that one. But Cowboys got to feed Zeke and give it to Amari Cooper and hope for the best while playing some outstanding football, because those Rams are hard to stop. Going on to the Sunday games, the Chargers and Ravens. My takes on that. John Harbaugh should have put Joe Flacco in. I understand you're trying to make a statement. This is Lamar Jackson's team, but your offense sputtered the whole first three quarters. I mean, Lamar Jackson completed two passes in the first half alone. Something wasn't working. They were killing your run game. You didn't get a first down, and you only had 3 first downs in the first half. You had no first downs in the third quarter. You should have thrown in Joe Flacco when Lamar Jackson was struggling. Reasons are you're playing against a veteran. It's a playoff game. Joe Flacco knows how to play playoff games. He's played in a lot of them. He's won a Super Bowl. So the experience on that, too, it would have screwed up the Chargers' defense. They are built to play against the game plan was against Lamar Jackson, not Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco has different skill sets than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's a run-first type of guy, where Joe Flacco has a strong arm. Get him with the strong arm, you're essentially going to win. They were built to stop the run. That's why they had safeties in the linebacker position. But if they would have thrown it deep, which Lamar Jackson was starting to do near the end of the game, it really hurt them because they were not prepared for the long balls as they were prepared to shutting down the run. The Chargers, on the other hand, congratulations on your win, but here's the one problem. You let a rookie quarterback almost come back and beat you. You got Tom Brady next week. Tom Brady, you're not going to have that opportunity against Tom Brady. If you're up big, you got to win because Tom Brady will come back and he will haunt you. And you'll be sitting at home watching the Patriots play in the AFC Championship. So you got to play smarter. You have to figure out ways to run out the clock. And luckily, the Patriots don't have a number one defense like the Ravens. But the Patriots scoring defense is something to be keeping an eye on. You got to find ways to score every play or every drive. They were doing a good job on the field goals. Yes, field goals aren't going to win you games, but field goals can add points when it comes to a one-possession game. Like I said, your goal is to have points on every drive, and that's what you need to do. But and then the last game, the Eagles and Bears. I want to point out that a lot of these games, I think the refs played terrible. They were missing calls. The reviews were terrible. So I know some of that's a factor. So going back to the Philly and Chicago game, that was probably the best game of the weekend. I know that that was probably the hardest game down the stretch for the Eagles because of the defense they had to go against. But yeah, the Bears, they should have rushed the passer more. I mean, Nick Foles is a guy who's playing with nothing to lose. He's going to throw it deep. So you wanted to rush the passer, drop a couple guys in the back also, and make sure that when he did make the mistakes, what they were doing in the first half was essentially what they should have done in the second half also. He had 2 picks in the first half, throwing it deep. He was pressured, and but one of the problems was they weren't sacking him. I think he had 1 or 2 sacks in the whole game. That's how you're going to beat Nick Foles, is you're going to cause pressure. Something like Brady does, cause pressure, get sacks, and that's how you win. Eagles, you got 2-point conversion. You got to get those. You almost caught. They should have lost essentially. And also that timeout at the end. I know why you needed that timeout to get the touchdown, but for clock management, to have 3 timeouts going into that final drive, that's something you really needed because if they would have, like I said, scored, you would have really the clock would have been different on time wise. It wouldn't have been 5 seconds left if they would have scored. It would have been about 45 seconds, which will get you down the field to get into field goal range. So, clock management, they got to work on that a little bit more. But overall, that was a game. That was could have been a Super Bowl game, despite it being NFC versus NFC. But that was the phenomenal game of the week. Nick Foles playing against the best defense. He went out, did his job. Now they got the Saints next week. I'd keep an eye on that game. It's a rematch from the 2013 playoffs where Nick Foles started his first playoff game and then lost from a bullcrap call. I believe it was a face mask on the final on the kickoff that started the Saints on the 50, and they got the game-winning field goal. But to my memory, I don't know if that's right. But so next week games. It's going to be a little bit more harder to predict because anything can happen. But I do got the Chiefs beating the Colts, and I got the Patriots beating the Chargers, just to the fact that the Patriots always win, and the Chiefs are just, they don't have the defense like the Colts, but their offense is too much for the Colts. And Andy Reid is just a better coach. NFC now. I think there's going to be a rematch for in the NFC Championship. I think it's going to be the Eagles going to top off the Saints. It's going to be one crazy game. I know you heard it here first. I'll go, if that happens, go back to here. I said it first. And then the Cowboys are going to lose against the Rams. The Rams' offense is just too much for the Cowboys for offensively and defensively. So it's going to be Eagles and Rams for the NFC Championship, and that's the game to watch because Eagles did beat the Rams, but I'm not going to go into the championship games. I'm just talking about who's going to win the divisional games. So that's my take on Wildcard Weekend and my prediction going into next week. Let me know in the comments if you disagree with me. Let me know who's going to the championship games, and just give me your thoughts on what the how Wildcard Weekend went. I know that Bears and Eagles game was absolutely crazy. I saw my timeline on Twitter and Facebook. But yeah, let me know and give me a like and sub. With that, have a great week, and I will post a new video up either tomorrow or Tuesday. Have a great day.